guys, I really hope I am on air. Okay, I will quickly say this just in case something goes wrong. Literally seconds before coming on air, my internet we just went to outage due to huge snowstorm here. So I am using my phone hotspot to come to you. So if someone somewhere on one of the chats and comments could just tell me if you can hear me, if you can see me, we're gonna keep going for as long as my hotspot would work, or maybe my internet, which I'm looking and it's still on red, will come back. So I'm just gonna hope that we are somehow out there coming clear. I don't know if the quality is even bearable, but the show must go on, right? So we're gonna try to get the show going. Um, okay. Um, I know yesterday I mentioned that we will have Robert Spencer on with us today. Unfortunately, earlier this morning, he had to request a reschedule. He's a little under the weather. So do keep him in your prayers. Um, Hopefully, he feels better soon, and then we will reschedule to have him on to discuss his newest book. If you haven't gotten the book, I strongly suggest you do. It's a very, very good. I mean, all of Robert Spencer books are great, but I'll definitely ask you to get this one, Who Lost Afghanistan. So, but as I said, we will definitely, most definitely, have him back as soon as he feels better. I am not getting any comments, so I'm just crossing my fingers that's due to my internet issue and nothing else. So since we couldn't have um, Robert Spencer joining us, I figured I will just discuss something else, which kind of came out today on Iran International. Hold on, I need to gather my thoughts. This has almost never happened to me. To where minutes before going on air, I lost internet. So let me gather my thoughts and be a little bit more professional, whatever that means, right? Okay. Um, I'm sorry, I didn't even do a proper good afternoon and welcome to Live Up to Freedom with you guys today. Isn't that terrible? I do apologize. Okay. So those of you who have supported me or followed my work for years, my concentration is Islamic Republic of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran. I have over and over talked about the evil doings of Islamic Republic of Iran, everything they've done to their own citizens, to people of Middle East, to people of Israel specifically, and further more to Europe, America, Canada, wherever. In the last 43 years, you see the footprint of Islamic Republic of Iran's either the mullahs, the supreme leader, IRGC or Hezbollah, and their child terrorist groups everywhere. You just see them. It happened to be there. But then how somehow for profit of or benefit of um, elite or globalist or deep state, whatever we want to call them, they have been constantly enabled. Not only they are not being punished now, verbally they're being punished. Verbally, everybody's talking bad about them. Verbally, everybody's whatever. But technically, by action, they have never been punished. They except I would say the 4 years of President Trump, where serious sanctions were placed on Islamic Republic of Iran. And we were seeing some results. I'm not going to say dramatic results, but there were some results that we were seeing. At least it was making them desperate enough. So, oh, that is fantastic. Thank you, Darlin and Maga Patriot. I just got 2 comments on Frank's speech saying the sound is great and the picture is great. So we're good for now. Woo! Okay, this is good. This is very good. So back to it. Islamic Republic of Iran has been given money, opportunity, invited to many countries, diplomatic relationship with many other countries, and on and on and on, regardless of how much blood of innocent people are on their hands, regardless of how much they're literally the biggest uh, funder or financee of Islamic terror at globe, they are being rewarded. Now, I'm going to fast forward the 43 years into when Biden regime decided, you know what, we're just going to go back on the table and start negotiating with Islamic Republic of Iran for an Iran nuclear number two. From day one, their response constantly to anyone asking why would you want to negotiate with terrorists? Why would you want to negotiate with this evil regime? The response was, we believe diplomacy is still laws to get their hands on a nuclear bomb. Now, that on its own, as an American, negotiate with terrorists. Answer is, since the corruption in our government started going from just drops and spots into complete takeover. But some of us have started covering it. The negotiations kept going on. Now, it was in direct negotiation, if you recall, to where our representatives were sitting in the hallways, and the 5 representatives, I believe, from Russia, China, France, UK, and I'm drawing a blank on Germany, the 5th country. They were in the room directly talking to Islamic Republic of Iran's representatives and coming out and telling our representative what Iran's demands are. This is how the negotiation took place the whole time. From October of 2021 until today, whatever we asked for, they said no. Whatever they asked for, we said yes, except one condition, which was removing IRGC from terrorist list. That was the only thing the Biden regime supposedly said no. But technically, they are coming into America and they are operating here. They're operating from outside. They're plotting to kidnap Iranian Americans. They're plotting to kill Iranian Americans. They're plotting to kill official government members, either former or current official members, including President Trump. So that was a no. That was just a fake no to be said. It wasn't a real, oh, okay, IRGC, we're going to watch out for their activities. Then on September 16th of 2022, an uprising started in Islamic Republic of Iran by the people of Iran that went from an uprising and riots into full-on revolution. And at some point, Islamic Republic of Iran announced that we're done. Deal is done. We're not negotiating anymore. There's just one term. And if they don't meet the term, we're not doing the negotiation. And that was removing IRGC from terrorist list. Biden regime kept saying, we're negotiating. A couple of weeks ago, Biden regime decided to say, okay, we're done negotiating. There won't be a nuclear deal agreement. And we're going to stand by the people of Iran. We're going to support the Iranian people wanting their freedoms. But then this came up today. I would absolutely put it on the screen for you, but I actually can't. Some of the functions of my software is not working due to lack of direct internet. So this is on Iran International, a website that I have reported from many times. This is on their English part, so you can actually find it. Iran International. The link to the website is IranINTL.com. INTL.com. Exclusive. U.S. Envoy Malley met with Iran's UN ambassador. U.S. State Department has not denied information by Iran International that U.S. Envoy Robert Malley held meeting in New York with Tehran's UN ambassador recently. This, just in case if you have missed my other live shows or other programmings or speaking engagement, this is the fifth time since September of 2022 until today that we have hosted Islamic Republic of Iran's officials. under different reasons, always tying back to UN from September 21st when Raisi, the current president of Islamic Republic of Iran, came to New York and gave a speech at UN meeting. All the way to today, different ambassadors, different positions, different government officials of Iran have come to New York and done business. Now, in so many ways, for so many reasons, this is wrong. Number one, again, terrorist. Islamic Republic of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran's Raisi, the current president, is under direct personal sanctions by United States of America's government. He does not hold any diplomacy and he's not the head of the government because the supreme leader is. So under those two circumstances, even though I wouldn't like the idea, but I would understand that United States has no choice but to issue a visa, limited access visa for him to come to UN convention. But he's neither of those two. So when United States of America issued the visa to allow him to come to New York, right there and then, not only they broke the law within the government, within the federal law of the United States of America, but also they continue to open doors for terrorists to come in freely. This man landed at the airport with his own plane. Back then, I was losing my mind because all of this was also at the beginning of what's happening in Iran. That what are the guarantees? What were the guarantees that Rouhani is just going to land in New York and open that plane and a bunch of IRGC or Hezbollah soldiers or Hamas soldiers are not going to come and take over the airport? There are no guarantees. There weren't no guarantees. The point is the level of where we're standing with our own regime. This isn't about Iranian people. This isn't about the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime either. At this point, after what we covered yesterday about the ISIS from federal prison in America, in Pennsylvania. Now, today, I'm covering the pattern of how much this regime of Biden is freely and comfortably jeopardizing the safety of American citizens, how easy it is for them to not care. So next time, excuse me, I think this cold is never going to leave me, huh? The next time anyone from the government tells you that they're either here to guarantee your safety or your safety and as their priority, just remember these things that I am bringing up right now. And again, this is not just about Biden regime. This has been an ongoing issue in America. Now, Biden regime is becoming more blunt. They're becoming more bold. They're doing it more directly. But it's not the beginning. This did not start with them. Remember, Rouhani, the former president of uh, Iran, came to America. So we're going to forget about all of that. We're going to open the door. We're going to bring him in and just make the deal. So let me stop there. Rant and complain for a few. Are we back? I think we're back. Sorry, I think there was a glitch there for a second, but I lost the stream. That Are we back? Let's see if we are back. Had anything to do with interest of America or Americans. Every single written was in definitely interest of Iran, not even Iranian people, the regime in Iran. They're in complete that Robert Malley still has his job and still apparently passing messages to Iran. But those who do, I hope you don't believe a single second of any of this having to do with any possible interest for America or Americans. Feed on Nendel TV. Feed is all right. It's my internet. If you just joined us, I am using my hotspot on my phone to come to you because I lost internet. TV is absolutely fine, and as soon as I hop off, you guys be able to see the rest of the shows clean and clear. I just didn't want to bail on you and not show up at all. Logan even has a backup show ready for me just in case if I would get completely kicked out. So I do apologize. Hopefully tomorrow my internet is back. I should probably say this, guys. If my internet stays out until tomorrow, we're just gonna do a best of. But if the internet comes back, I will join you again. Born free, I could, but again, it's not the feed itself or the session, it's the internet. Everything is basically pulling from this little phone here. And internet is still, the modem is still red behind me. So go away. I saw your comment. Would it be simpler to provide Iran an embassy in DC? It would sure cut down on time delays for backroom deals with and Valerie Jarrett, Obama, or Biden. Now, here's the thing. They actually do already have an embassy in DC, something a lot of people don't know. So inside the Afghanistan embassy and inside the Pakistan embassy in DC, at the very end of the hallway, there's a room that is Islamic Republic of Iran's embassy. They don't have an official embassy, but they do have an embassy. And I would absolutely disagree with giving an embassy or official embassy to Islamic Republic of Iran in America or in DC, because not only it's not going to cut back on, any kind of backroom, but the backrooms, the backroom deals are just going to be there. And that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be there. There's no stopping it, because remember, every single deal the mullahs are going to agree with, as far as mullahs making deal with America or the regime of Biden or anyone in power, is absolutely a corrupt deal. It will always be a backroom deal. But if we do give them their own embassy in DC, few messages that are very negative, bad for us American citizens. Number one, because they have an embassy, a lot of the hiccups and the bumps on the road for these soldiers of Hezbollah or IRGC to come to America will smooth it out. They can just literally go through their embassy to get things done. Number two, another part is any of the IRGC members or Hezbollah members, Iranian borns, who commit any kind of crime, then having an embassy and becoming an ambassador can give them a coverage to commit any kind of crime here in America, and then just, be deported back to their country with absolutely no consequences. So I can see how it would seem like a good idea, but I would say we shouldn't. And again, remember, there's a back room as for their embassy as it is. That's how a lot of Iranian Americans in America, if they want to get, I don't know, let's say they have a child and they want to get the Iranian birth certificate for them, they go to mainly the Pakistani embassy in DC. They go in there, and then from there they go into the room that belongs to Islamic Republic of Iran to get birth certificate for the kids. I don't know, some of them who travel back and forth between Iran and here, they renew their Iranian passport in that room. So they are already having an unofficial embassy, if you would call it that. Oh, fantastic. Awesome. Okay, Born Friends, we're doing a little better, or much better now. A perfect question. Go away said, I did not know that. I know 90% of Americans I talk to, when I tell them, did you know they have a room in Pakistan embassy? They're like, what? No, I didn't know. Well, they do, because it's a little loophole in the law that because of existence of American-born, Iranian-born American citizen in America, they need to have some sort of access to roots of the country. Now, it's not called embassy, therefore they don't have ambassadors. It's called something else for the citizens. So there's like a little law that gives them the right. However, that room is not their embassy, so it's not technically their soil. It's the Pakistani um, soil, and then in the Afghanistan embassy, it's the Afghanistan soil. So basically, an Iranian-born cannot go in there and hide from the law. You know, all of those little tiny, um, I guess, safety measures have been taken, but they still have to have. Trust me, I did a whole digging into it to see if I can somehow get rid of it, because I didn't want a room for them. But by law, they have to be there, but they don't have any privileges, rights that comes with embassy or ambassadors. Is this something we can take up with Afghanistan? No, we can, and that's the interesting part. I'm glad you brought this up, Go Away, because the fact that the Afghanistan embassy is still active and open in America should be a concern of its own. Afghanistan was taken over by Taliban. Technically, on paper, United States of America has not legitimized the Taliban government, technically, on the paper. Of course, just like Iran, we are doing business with them. We're dealing with them. As I said, two of the people that we meet with constantly, either in Qatar or Uzbekistan or sometimes in Tehran, those two are on our most wanted list. Well, we don't actually put them in cuff and bring them here. We just sit there and negotiate with them. But because technically we haven't legitimized the regime of Taliban, therefore, Afghanistan embassy should be at least on temporary hold, meaning shut down, closed down temporarily. But it isn't. The Afghanistan embassy, as of right now, is still active and operating, which makes no legal sense whatsoever. You only provide embassy to countries that you legitimize the government that is within that country running or ruling the country. That's how you give embassies. That's how they have ambassadors. But somehow, without legitimizing the regime of Taliban, we have kept the Afghanistan embassy open. And the person in it, as of right now, the ambassador, I covered this about, I think, 3 weeks ago on my show, that person is assigned by Taliban regime. And that's where I say, unfortunately and sadly, very sadly, we have a regime of our own. Nothing, again, lawlessness. We're at the state of lawlessness. By law, that embassy, the Afghanistan embassy, should have been shut down. It isn't yet. There's an ambassador in there with all the protection from the Taliban government or regime, or they like to call themselves the caliphate. And this is Taliban again we're talking about. I mean, I don't think anyone at this point needs any explanation of who Taliban are. You know. Good question, Go Away. I don't know who is now on the Foreign Affairs Committee, but I can definitely look it up. But one thing I do know while doing my research to try to see if we can, shut down the Iran room, as I call it, is that it is not, it's actually, it's not something we can fight. It's within the law that as long as even one Iranian-born American citizen exists in America, that room needs to exist. That's just the way it is. Even though the person in it who's doing the paperwork is assigned by the regime of Iran, so part of the terrorist group and regime, sadly, there's that loophole that there has to be a room for that person to be there to do the paperwork. But I can most definitely, now I stopped this fight of mine or argument to try to get rid of them a few years ago. I know recently some of the Iranians in DC showed up in front of the door, led by Masih Ali-Nishad, to try to, stop again because of the revolution, and that didn't go anywhere either. But to conclude here, because I'm actually running out of time on Lendl TV, I'm so sorry. Well, that didn't go too bad. Thank you for Lendl TV audience. Thank you for staying, even though the quality was kind of like up and down. As I said, tomorrow, if my internet is back, I will join you live. If not, we will do a best of. Please stay safe, stay vigilant. Go to mystore.com, use the promo code AC21 to support what I do. You can check out my artist store, lutfstudio.com, use the promo code Frank. Lendl TV audience, thank you so much. for being here. And Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow. And I will continue on the other platforms for as long as my hotspot is allowing me. And I will repeat again, um, I am trying to catch comments. It is becoming a little. Every time I use my phone to look at the platforms and comments, my feed here loses internet. So I know you guys are talking to me, and I'm very much excited to go see them. But let's carry on with the feed. Um, Now, with that being said, goes back to, as Americans, I started this by saying this is not about Iran, this is not about Iranian people, it's about us American people. All of the information, everything we just talked about here, comes back to one, remember, get educated topic, because unless you know all of this, unless you know all this is happening, there is nothing to do about, because when you're not aware of a problem, I mean, you're not aware of a problem, right? So we need to get educated. The purpose of, I would like to think 90% of the time I'm here to do that. I'm here to make sure to tell you the things, either language helps you from knowing, or so much other stuff is being covered. But knowing what's happening is the first step to realize, as Americans, we're under a regime that will willingly hand us over. There will, I mean, forget about a border. Um, in any corner of our country, America, we are on our own. I guess that's the biggest thing. When I was reading this article, which I will go back and finish reading the last two paragraphs of the information, but I couldn't help but to think, that was too many buts that I just said there, didn't I? I couldn't help but to think that we are on our own. And if we don't, few things. Number one, if we don't unite, if we stay divided as we are right now, there is no way we can fight back, because divide and conquer, right? So that is something we need to really sit down and think about deeply. We need to think, can we find a way to be more united, put our small disagreements aside for the sake of our freedom and our country? Number two, do we have the willpower to not give in to everything that is happening, to not allow more of taken away? Because remember, for example, as they are coming after a lot of hate speech, or PayPal, charging you $2,500 for misinformation, basically gag orders all over the place, more and more freedom of speech is being, more people are giving into self-censoring and being quiet, or not talking about it, because they don't want FBI knocking at their door, they don't want to end up in prison, all that cases. And again, I'm not saying it's easy. Or a very dear friend of mine once told me it's much easier for someone like me to do it, and I do agree with him. It is easier for me to do it. I'm not married, I don't have children, I don't have family members, so I just have to worry about what's going to happen to me, and I don't care. Remember where I come from. I'm not going to go back to that lifestyle. You want to put me in prison, that's fine for it. But the question is, do we have enough Americans who have the willpower to make the sacrifices and the compromises, knowing all this information, knowing all this fact out there, knowing how much our government is making deals with the devil and handing over all of our freedoms, our assets, our resources, our lives over to the enemy? Do we have enough American who might be um, somewhat interested in stopping, somewhat guys, someone, a caller on Brian House radio today, put this in a very good way, where he said a lot of people want freedom, but they don't know how to protect their freedom. That's where it comes to. We all want freedom. We all have different definition of freedom, as I said. I thought freedom is being able to wake up in the morning and breathe and not be beheaded or stoned to death. That was part of my understanding of freedom. But now I have a different understanding of it. We have different definition, different understanding of freedom. But bottom line is we all want our freedoms, but do we know how to fight for them? Do we know how to hold on to them? Do we not know how to not lose them? Every single day, every single moment, single decision in life has some sort of compromise or sacrifice involved. The problem is, it feels like, at least in America, we're making sacrifices and compromises that we're not aware of because we're not making decisions. When you allow someone else to make a decision for you, they decide what kind of compromise or sacrifice you're putting into it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, my fellow Americans, can we please make decisions ourselves? We're on our own. Let me get to finish this article by Iran International. So we ended up with net price saying we have the means to deliver specific firm messages to Iran when it is in America's interest to do so. Iran International had asked the of the State Department, sorry, not Department of the State Department, that according to information it obtained, U.S. Special Representatives for Iran, Robert Malley, met with Iran's ambassador to the United Nations in New York, Saeed Ervani, at least 3 times in last 2 months. 3 times in last 2 months. But we are not going to get into details about how we deliver these messages, except to say that we do so in close coordination with allies and partners. Okay. Allies and partners. I I strongly believe that the enemy of my enemy is my friend is a myth. Okay, an enemy is an enemy, and a friend is a friend. I understand the uh, meaning behind it. But for us, in any shape or form, to say we're working with partners and allies to get messages to Iran is one of those times that I want to be like, excuse me, Mr. Net Price, how badly do you think you can insult my intelligence until I tell you I'm not stupid? The true allies and partners of United States of America are in no shape or form in touch with Iran, right? You can't use them to get these messages. You're not going to get into details of how you're passing these messages, but you're going to say you're doing it through allies and partners. What allies? What partners? As of right now, even certain European countries are not talking to Iran anymore. They are passing laws. They are voting on listing IRGC as a terrorist group in EU. Germany has stalled talks. Germany has summoned the ambassador of Iran for discussion of possibly shipping them back home. You got Italy involved. You got Iceland involved. I want to know who are these partners and allies that you're using to pass these messages. Let's not mention that. Why is it that we can't know about the messages? What are the messages? Why as an American citizen, I would demand to know what are these messages. Because if you're not negotiating for Iran nuclear deal, there's absolutely nothing else. Nothing else. Wait, let me just go there for a second. Hold on, let me put my tinfoil hat on. Is it possible, based on a report on PJ Media a week ago, that you're doing messages, passing messages in interest of America with Iran because you're trying to somehow actually honor the request of Iran that was by Iraqi justice system to issue an arrest warrant for President Trump for the crimes he has committed? Could that be the negotiation that's going on? Like, could it be that Biden regime is going to actually honor an arrest warrant issued by Iraqi Justice Department and say, here's President Trump, arrest, and he's going to go stand trial in Iraq. And genuinely, in any shape or form, if anyone thinks what I'm saying is far-fetched, you have not been paying attention. I wouldn't put anything past these people. Again, let me remind you, an ISIS soldier convicted of kidnap, torture, and murder of more than one aid workers and journalists, foreign journalists in Syria, vanished. That couldn't happen without the government's help, could it now? No, he is not. I mean, unless he was a magician, which I don't believe in magic. There are no magicians. So could that be what this whole messaging back and forth is containing? And the allies and the partners are, I don't know, maybe Palestinian authorities? I mean, you're meeting with them regularly. Taliban, because you're meeting with them regularly too. Could that be the message? Because again, in last 43 years, in no shape or form, did Iran and America have anything to discuss except them chanting death, burning American flag in Iran, morning to night, night to morning, morning to night, night to morning. And over here, we just kind of avoid their existence until this Iran nuclear deal. So I don't see anything outside of the Iran nuclear. And earlier on the article we read that they confirmed no, that the Iran nuclear deal is not the agenda. So what is the agenda? Handing over President Trump, Pompeo, American people. Oh wait, are we doing another president swap? What is it? I don't know why it's okay for us to be in the dark. Moving forward with the articles, they said in its response, the DOS did not deny or confirm Malley's possible meetings with Tehran's envoy, but underlined that the U.S. has its channels to communicate message Iranian side. The Iran International followed up with a specific question to the State Department on January 18th. This is yesterday. Just to confirm that you are not denying that meetings between Mr. Iravani and Mr. Malley took place in recent months in New York. A second response received from a spokesperson repeated that, as we have said, we have the means to deliver messages to you when it is in our interest to do so. I'm not going to get into details about how we deliver these messages, but we do so in close coordination with the allies and partners and make no apologies for delivering them firmly and consistently. Of course, you're not going to make any apologies. Why would you? When was the last government in America made an apology for doing what they shouldn't do? So it's okay, Ned Price. None of us are holding our breath expecting an apology. That part, it's okay. I have a question. For a moment, I'm going to actually move over right here and just go to Iran. So you have the means to convey these messages to the Iranian side firmly and consistently. May I ask, what the last time and what was the last message that you conveyed firmly about if you don't stop killing your citizens, uh, we're going to put those sanctions back on? When was that? Because you're clearly, without an apology, telling us that you have the means to deliver the messages firmly and consistently. Since September 16th until today, January 19th, That puts us on 123 days of arrests, rapes, tortures, murder, of between all of the things I just said, close to 23,000 people. 23,000 people arrested, tortured, beat up, raped, or killed. And United States of America has not sent a single message, nor did they even try to bargain. I have not heard a single of government officials in America saying, "Hey, we're putting those five sanctions back that we just lifted," or take it further and say, "We're putting all the sanctions back on." Do you Islamic Republic of Iran's regime can survive this sanction if it would put back on? Do you? Because they wouldn't. They couldn't. If it wasn't for all the millions and billions of dollars we are releasing and giving them through Afghanistan and Qatar, if it wasn't for that, Islamic regime would be gone long ago. So I'm gonna, as I said, I'm doing the Iranian part of me for a second. Make it very clear that it is absolutely okay, 100% it is okay for any non-Iranian in America to not really care what happens to Iranian people. That is generally their right. It is not okay for Americans to be okay with their regime or government spending their tax dollar to fund the imprisonment, rape, torture, and death of any human. That is where I draw the line. I'm not asking, I gave up on asking anyone continue being the voice of people of Iran. I stopped asking anyone to even pray for them. I stopped altogether. But I will say this, especially my fellow Christians, your tax money, your tax dollar is funding the enslavement, imprisonment, torture, rape, sodomy, and possibly death of innocent people who are simply trying to get a taste of life the way we have here in America. Your tax is funding narcissistic, arrogant people to become more powerful and to demand more death all across the globe. While here in America, we Americans are facing inflation, hitting this close to hyperinflation. We have family members who cannot even feed their kids. We have veterans who cannot find shelter. We have marriages falling apart, and we have American serious illnesses giving up hope in life. While all of the tax dollars and the of it is being handed over to these creatures who don't even make a deal with the devil at this point themselves. When will it be enough? How much more are we going to take? How much more we're going to tolerate? What is there to lose at this point? I will genuinely ask of my fellow Americans. I remember during the pandemic, who said, listen, I have to do it because I need to keep my job. I can't lose my job. I can't lose my home. I can't lose my car. I'm like, okay, okay. But now let me ask you this. Between hyperinflation, um, mandates, a country going bankrupt, banks crashing, what is there that you're worried about losing exactly? Because I saw the reports yesterday. I saw my few people posting about, Bank of America, them missing money. I had an interesting, it's been an interesting Thursday that felt like a Monday. Let me just quickly go there. Um, of course, as I said, we got hit by a snowstorm, cause of me not. Woke up with the snow, tried to shovel the snow. There was a problem with my shovel, so I couldn't do that. I had to glue the handle back to the shovel, and then probably step out and shovel that is snow. Then check my phone, and I have this strange email on my phone from my bank that a big transaction just went through. I look and I'm like, my security system, all $2,169 and 53 cents from my bank account. So I call them. I'm not gonna tell me who gave you authorization to do that. It was a system error. I'm like, I see. System error is a little too precise, isn't it? Like, what is that 53 cents at the end of it? Then error. Oh no, we'll be refunding this. I said, well, you're gonna have to refund more than that because my bank account is negative. Like, I don't sit on $2,000 withdraw all day long. So you're gonna have to refund that, and then the negative charge I'm gonna get for it. And I also need to know what kind of system error is this. Don't you think this is a little too interesting of a number, like 250, no, $69 and 53 cents? It just doesn't make sense. System error. And then I want to know why. Oh, and I need you to contact my bank because here's how the bank works. You're negative, they charge you daily until you're back to positive. Anyways, that happened. And then, of course, I'm getting ready to come on air. Well, of course, we had, unfortunately, Robert Spencer who had postponed, and then we got the internet going. So it's been a Monday, but that's okay. It could be worse. My point is, if your freedom are not the most important thing not to lose, any shape or form, coming from where I come from. And again, I'm not sitting here preaching or lecturing on something I haven't done myself. Remember, at age 15, when you have to grab it and go and not look back, and you're told no matter what happens, you don't look back. At that point is the first time, without doing so, you're learning that popular sentence of give me freedom or give me death. I don't know I'm learning that, but I did. I did. Even whatever it is you're doing, stay alive. I don't think you understand the value of freedom. Um, for many years myself, and I still with people, not just in Iran and Afghanistan, here, right here in America, alive, motivation, uh, inspiration, compassion, and just to stay alive and continue breathing. You don't want to plug because even the stage of vegetable is better than not being here. Then Good for you. Do that. But for those of you who mentality I have, which means if I'm going, if I'm not going to life with my freedoms, I'd rather not life. I need you to please be more active, way more active. Of course, I'm going to ask you to support me. So I can keep doing what I'm doing in any shape or form you like to support. There are so many options, as you know. You can become my local Americans First locals.com. Americans First sorry, Americans First locals.com. You can go to www.studio.com. Go to my website, freedom.com. But that aside, even if you choose not to support me, I will respect it as well. Absolutely fine. But you need to support you. You need to support our freedoms. You need to stand strong by our constitution. You just have got to do it. You have to. Next generation, our daughters, our granddaughters, our sons and our grandsons. And all that, not fighting. God. Please stay safe, stay vigilant. I for on and off today for not being able to catch the comment. I go read them afterwards. Try to catch them if they're still there. And as I said, tomorrow I will join you if the internet is back on. I will make the announcement on platforms. If you come tomorrow at 2:30 and tune in, and it's a best of, feel free to watch. But just know that the only reason I'm not here live tomorrow is because we still don't have our internet back. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. If that doesn't happen, I'll see you day after or whenever the internet comes back on. In meantime, liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.com. Sign up for our newsletter so I can reach out with call to actions if there are any, and new videos and new information. Please, please get involved. Things are not okay. Things are not good. We don't have much left. As Brandon House would say, the hour is late. You guys stay safe, stay vigilant. Thank you so much for joining my program today and hanging in there regardless of technical difficulties. May God bless you. May God bless America.